Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwant, and welcome to our LinkedIn Live podcast. We have Chris Quinine on the line. He's joining us from Southern California from his car, and he's Vice President and Global Head of HR. Tell us about your company. Your company really fascinates me.
Yeah, so we are North America's leading distributor of countertop, flooring, and wall tile surfaces. I'll say hard surfaces. We focus on things like luxury vinyl tile, your ceramic and porcelain tiles, natural stone and quartz countertops, mosaics, all of that. So we're in the home building industry. We've evolved over the 48 years we've been in business. Prior to that, we were in the monuments business, so personal monuments, tombstones, mausoleums, and then national monuments. So the Vietnam Memorial, Astronauts Museum, presidential libraries. Our business has adapted and evolved over the years, but as I like to tell folks, we sell rocks. That's about what we do.
MM International is the company name, and I recommend that you visit that. It's not a B2C company. You sell to resellers. So you have a lot of showrooms, and you have how many salespeople?
We've about, the number changes because we're growing, which is exciting. We're probably around somewhere between 725, 750 or so right now. I think overall, if I look at the sales team and I add in then a customer service team, which is a slightly larger group than even our sales team, we're somewhere between 14 to 1500 or so folks in total in what I would call our sales organization.
What is unique about your company is what strikes me as unique is your culture where everybody sells. And you're going to speak about that topic at our Sales 3.0 conference on September 7th and 8th in Las Vegas. And I'd like for you to give us a little bit of a synopsis on how that culture started to gel and to work and became a major factor in your growth strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we started as a small family business. And so from the onset of our company, in the basement of the home of our founders, Manu and Rika Shaw in Indiana, everyone did everything. And as a small, scrappy entrepreneurial business, that meant every single person in the organization in the early days was a salesperson, was a product person, was a warehouse person. They did all of it. And that entrepreneurial spirit has been key and kind of foundational to our success over the last 48 years. And so if I think about kind of this idea of what sales means, we think about it pretty broadly in that these are entrepreneurs who are, sales reps are business leaders and branch managers in training. And when I think of, a driver, for example, out in our warehouse, that's a touch point with a customer. That is a customer service person who is selling the value proposition of MSI every time she or he is at a customer location. I think about our HR team where, particularly in talent acquisition, those are salespeople through and through. We're selling a product and the product is our company. And I think if you really boil down all of this, it's that entrepreneurial spirit and that we all own the success of this company by growing the business together. And we give our team, call it a shocking level of autonomy to go out and make decisions that are going to have impacts on the business that are much larger than the person making that decision. And if you empower your team to do that, what you're really doing is saying, go grow this company on our behalf. And so when everybody has that sales mindset and everybody understands that every little thing they do is a representation of the business, and in turn is, particularly in a B2B environment, selling this company to our customers, either through the service we provide, through the distribution network, through the advantage that we provide on a technology front to our customers. It really is about how do we grow this business, and all of us play a role in that. And in that sense, every single person at the company is a salesperson.
Well, what I find fascinating, Chris, is that you are, according to your website, a $2.8 billion company in sales, and you think like a small business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Manu and Rika tell this story frequently that, when they hit their first milestone at 50 million, they were worried that we're not going to be a small business anymore. We're not going to behave like a small business anymore. And we're going to lose that family culture. And they were able to maintain that to 100 million. And, Manu said, I remember a conversation saying, we're going to lose this as we grow. We're going to keep it as long as possible. And they hit 500 and kept it. Then they hit 1 billion and kept it. And right around that $1 billion mark, I think, Manu and Rika and their sons, Raj and Roop, said, this is possible. If we did it at 1 billion, we can do it beyond 1 billion and keep this company feeling and acting and behaving like a small company. I describe our branches as small businesses, and our branch leaders are small business owners with a wildly unfair advantage in the market, and that they have a multi-billion-dollar company's worth of resources behind them. But if I
Right.
treat that branch manager like a small business owner, and I give them freedom to make
Right.
mistakes, I give them the ability to act like an entrepreneur, that little business will grow at a disproportionate rate because of the resources they have at their disposal. And as long as we behave like a scrappy small company, and we avoid the bureaucracy, and we're able to make decisions quickly, and we're able to pivot, we're also going to be successful at
Right.
adapting. Small businesses are really good at adapting. Big businesses tend to struggle. And to me, it's adapt or die, particularly in this environment. And that's been so central to us that we can't lose it. And we
Right.
believe it's possible to grow without it.
So help me understand the composition of that secret sauce. And I was paying attention when you said, I see a new hiree as a future branch manager, meaning that you must hire people that have growth potential. But how do you recognize that potential so that you don't have a lot of turnover? And I also know from our previous conversation, your turnover is insanely low at 4.1%. So explain that magic.
Yeah, I think, so the turnover that you describe amongst our sales reps at about 4%, it is, it's done in a few ways, and it starts with hiring. And I'll say that there's a lot of focus, particularly, if I look at, my peers in the HR world, on focus on hiring for skill. And there's a lot of good reason for doing that. But I take the perspective that we actually hire for your attributes first and then your skill. And so we are looking for the attributes that have proven successful. And one of them, the biggest one, is, are you as an individual adaptable? I need you to be adaptable, because what you do today as a sales rep will be very different than what you do in 3 years, and wildly different than what you do in 10. So that's one. If you're not adaptable, you're not going to do well. The other thing that we look for, particularly in a sales rep example, is I need someone who is unsatisfied with where they are today. I need you to be hungry and unsatisfied with where you are now, because you have the goal of improving that. Whether that's, I just want to make more money, I'm good with that. I love salespeople that want to make more money. I'm good with that. If that's, I want to grow into a larger managerial role, I'm great with that too. I don't require it, but if you want it, we're a great spot for that. So I'm looking for someone who's hungry. And we talk about that hunger and that adaptability as being the two things that will really help. Because if you reflect back on what we said earlier, small businesses are adaptable and hungry.
Yep.
So if you can be adaptable and hungry, and we are identifying those things amongst a handful of other traits. But I mean, if I look at the core, that's it. The other thing I look for, people who have a growth mindset. We are a business that has grown every year we have been in business. That's central to who we are. We know the roadmap and talk very frequently about, in the next few years, when we're at 5 billion, what it will take to get from 5 to 10 billion. And when we meet with our teams today to talk about, becoming a leader in our future, we're talking about what it takes to get to 10 billion, not what it takes to be successful next year. And so I need people with that growth mindset, whether they want to grow themselves, their team, other things. So that adaptability, that hunger, and that growth mindset, if you find those things and then you give people the freedom to make decisions, you give people the freedom to fail, and you create an environment where failure is okay as long as you're learning from it. I can build guide rails that will prevent you from taking the business down with you, but I'm okay, because if you're not taking risk, you're not growing. And so I need you to take risk. And if you're always succeeding, you're not really taking risk. So we also are looking for people that are comfortable making decisions and taking on smart risk. And so you have to be a decision maker. You've got to have a growth mindset. You've got to be adaptable, and you've got to be hungry. And if you've got those things, you're willing to take on risk. And then there's a formula there that for that individual that's going to work really well in our organization. And we're laser focused on finding those people, because that's part of what we think has been the key to our success. So
you said earlier you look for those attributes, and I'm totally in agreement with you. Those are the you're tapping into a human gold mine when you can identify those attributes. The question is, do you use a test for that, or do you use your instinct for that?
No, this is a wonderful question, and something that we talk a lot about as we continue to grow and have more people making decisions about who you bring in the organization. We use a behavior-based interview model. I believe strongly in your past predicts your future, but I am looking for transferable experience. I don't need you to have been a sales rep in the building industry for you to be successful here, but I need that transferable experience that you've had in your past where you've demonstrated these traits are in you. So if you're a really good shoe salesperson in women's shoes at Nordstrom, you might do really well here. Right. And I'm okay teaching you what you need to know about the rocks we sell. But similarly, I look at some of our most senior people and we say, well, what did they have? How did they become so senior in the organization, knowing nothing about what we do or being new to sales? One of my sales VPs started in IT. And part of that is we're willing to identify what we think are those traits in you as a candidate. But once you're here and you're working, I'm a growing business. If you're not succeeding in what you're doing and I have figured out what you are good at, I've got a job for you where I can figure out what you're good at and give you more of that work. And so the other thing we say is we're not going to be perfect. We're not going to always make the right decision. But once I've made that decision, I now know what you're good at. I'm going to give you 3 times the amount of work at what you're good at. And I'm going to take away what you're not good at. And I'm going to let you be successful, because your success is the company's success. But also, I probably still have a great job for you. And so, the other thing is and this goes back to adaptability, I might whiff and make a mistake. I might have thought you were great in the role that you were going to be in. And I learned that you're not, but you're better suited for this other role. And I go back to that IT example, the gentleman who is now a vice president in sales for us, we hired him to code software. And we learned very quickly that you're a capable software developer, but I see something in you that tells me you might be a better salesperson, and moved him into sales. And that has been his career. And he's probably one of the best salespeople in the company. And I think you have to be willing to make decisions like that, because I could give you a test. I could do great behavior-based interviews. I could look for, people who've learned multiple languages or, went through an immigrant experience in the US and had to adapt and all those things. But I'm going to be wrong. Interviewing only gets you so far. It's what you do with the folks you have. Once you have them, that's truly how you take advantage of the potential.
Well, we have lots to learn at Sales 3.0, and I have a little code up there, a QR code. If you scan that, you can get a free all-access pass to Sales 3.0 September 7th and 8th. And Chris will be swarmed with people that will want to know the real secrets to that success in selling surfaces to the tune of $2.8 billion. I cannot wait to see you live in Las Vegas, Chris, and thank you for collaborating with us. And this is the first time a global head of HR is actually going to talk about sales at their level, because you are sort of the DNA of sales success within the company.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if it's a compliment or a put down, but people frequently tell me it sounds like I work in sales, especially my sales team. But I'm super excited. I think it is part of the key of that secret sauce for the company, and that is truly building a team with that mindset is going to be amazing, and I can't wait to talk to folks
Yeah,
about it in Las
and
Vegas.
also, you are a consistently successful company because you're growing consistently, and you've done so through COVID and recessions, and you have the track record, and this is something that's very rare. I don't know whether you know how special that is, because most growth company at one point or another, they hit a big bump in the road and bureaucratize, but you re-energize everybody all the time. And I think it's your mindset followed by the skill set and then the tool set that you create for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think, understanding who you are to your core, staying laser focused on your core values and who your customers are and how to strengthen that relationship. And as long as that you've got that true north, you're able to do that. But, I will tell you that's a pretty awesome place, and it is a fairly unique place in many regards for those reasons. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. It was a
Very
pleasure.
good. Thank you.